Hello and welcome to TechyChats. I am Rachel and today I am joined by Ivana Butorac. Welcome, Ivana.
Hi, Rachel. Hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm happy that you're here. So Ivana is an information security consultant who combines law and tech and specializes in data protection and privacy matters. Ivana is also a podcast host for Business O'Clock and a founder of Business Bridges. So these are a few things about you. So please would you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Sure, no problem. Thank you very much, Rachel. So as you said, I like to think of myself as being a law and tech enthusiast, and I'm specializing in data protection and privacy matters. I'm working as an information security consultant in a cybersecurity team. But what is very particular about my job is that I'm specialized for government affairs issues. So my clients have been even before, but also now, specifically government affairs, bodies, institutions, organizations. And given that we are in the EU, of course, I'm providing services to European institutions, agencies, and organizations. So when it comes to law and tech and data protection and privacy, I'm working on projects that are related to the EU security and privacy. But before I became information security consultant, of course, I worked as a business consultant, which is also kind of typical for me having a legal background. So as you know, I'm a legal professional, and the fun fact about me is that I wanted to be a criminal law lawyer. So when I was younger, let's say like 5-6 years ago, I really wanted to become a criminal law lawyer, and I was exploring a lot criminal law issues, human rights issues, sexual offenses. So everything that is not tech related. And if you would ask me back then, would I ever work in cybersecurity and tech world? That would be, I couldn't even imagine it. So, but it happened in a weird way. So I started my career working as a trainee in the European Parliament, dealing with criminal law issues and foreign affairs. And this is where I developed a huge love for policy and regulatory matters and shaping the social culture around us. But later on, I joined the Cisco systems, and that was my first introduction with a tech world. Working for a giant like that in such a welcoming culture, I became more and more intrigued about it. But I didn't really have the skill set to work in a tech world, so I started thinking, what can I bring on the table as a legal professional, and being so passionate about criminal law? So nothing really made sense. But I just felt like that general curiosity about technology, about what technology can bring to us. And I started thinking, what is actually the impact of technology on people, on us, and what's actually happening in society. And then I decided that I would take up my legal specialization. And that was always a dream of mine. And I really gave it a thought. It wasn't like really straightforward, because it required literally change of my career path and, entering a field that was completely new. So I figured out that there is a really good LLM in IP and ICT law. And when I explored, I really got intrigued by, law and tech, because in my view, law was something completely different. And I really wanted to figure out how law, intertwines with technology, and, how law contributes to shaping the digitization, and what does it bring to us. So I took up that challenge while working full time for Cisco Systems. And, that was a game changer, literally. And I realized that cybersecurity world has a lot in common with criminal law in the analog world. And, step by step, I started, being more curious, talking with people. And I decided that if I ever want to work in cybersecurity and combine law and tech, I need to become a consultant. And given that I had, a policy background, a political experience, and coming from a political world, that actually made, it gave me the advantage in on a competitive manner, that being a legal professional, understanding policy, and, working in the EU bubble, I can really bring the added value as a consultant to the EU institutions. And if I'm about to work on state security matters from technology point of view and knowing the legal background, that really triggered me. So this is basically how I started slowly entering the field. And today I finally do my dream job of being an information security consultant. So it wasn't a clear path. It wasn't really like straightforward. It was a lot of, challenges on the way. But yeah, it took me some time and learning, and I eventually got there. So this is kind of my story, very non-traditional for a legal professional. But yeah, here I am today.
When you started out, so you said you wanted to be a criminal, like specialize in criminal. Did you have any awareness of tech? Did you even think that you would go to tech ever? No.
Yeah, so this is actually a great question, because I didn't have any interaction with technology at all, especially in a working environment. So I was more focusing on human rights from a criminal law perspective. So I was working on crimes against humanity, which includes genocide, wars and stuff like that. So it was a completely different nature, and my only touch with technology was my back then boyfriend and my friends who were gamers. So, I was introduced to tech through that world. But then when I started working in political environment, in policy environment, some things started to come up. And, there was a big buzz about, GDPR coming up. And naturally, being a lawyer, I was curious, what is GDPR all about? And this was that change towards, let's shape digital society, and internet world, but from a legal perspective. And, since I was deeply into criminal law matters and human rights, I really, I found relation with human rights in digital sphere, right? And this is where I actually entered cybersecurity and data protection and privacy, because this is, at the end of the day, our own human rights. And even though I'm not very technical, so I'm not a developer, I'm not a coder, I think it's crucial to have a legal professional to communicate with more technical people in cybersecurity world, because we are often talk about, hacking, misuses, identity theft and stuff like that. And those are all criminal law aspects, but in a digital world. So this is how I actually started exploring, but it was a lot of work on my own. And yeah, being introduced, to people in my surrounding and working in the EU bubble, I started thinking like, okay, what is my competitive advantage in 5 years from now? And it's gonna be digital. Everyone is like online today. But being a lawyer, I needed to step up my game. And this is where I decided that it's really fun to combine law and tech. And it's something that you wouldn't really think of, because you don't really find it digital lawyers, how to say. So this is how I decided to do that. But no, I didn't have any touch with digital before that.
So this is really kind of a new role that's emerged, that you've forged for yourself. Do you know many other people who have a similar role, so the law background and are working in tech?
Well, now I know quite some, because I also started building my own, mentoring circle plus networking circle. And as I said, it was a couple of years of working until I get there. And before starting in cybersec, I started working in tech, but as a business consultant for government affairs. So from a business perspective, I didn't have a lot of legal professionals, colleagues or mentors who could guide me, because it was kind of unknown. You could hear about privacy and about GDPR, but a lot of people from a business sector, they were, taking courses or trainings on that to be ready to deliver the digital transformation for the client. Or, they simply had a lot of experience in security audit or in compliance. So I didn't really meet a lot of legal professionals or lawyers there. But then with time, as when I started learning more, and when I enrolled at my university here at KU Leuven, of course, then I met more like-minded people, my colleagues, my peers, and we started sharing the same passion. Or even if we didn't share the same passion, like maybe someone would be more into intellectual property, but I would be more in data protection, we still started having good discussion about, tech and online world and what is law bringing to the table. So now it's a bit better, but back then I need to say legal roles were fulfilled more with business consultants or someone who with more technical people who had expertise and skill set in security matters, and then of course they needed to educate themselves more.
What was it like to forge your own role, would you say? Obviously it was a lot of work and hard, like being ahead of the curve. How did you find that?
It was really challenging. It was really challenging because a lot of people, how to say, it's a lot of people asked me when I started building my own path, like, what would a legal professional bring on the table? And I didn't have any entry tickets to cybersecurity. And I was working in Cisco, but on policy matters. And then what would I do as a consultant when I'm just a lawyer and I don't have a skill set to work as a IT consultant and lead the digital transformation? So I did encounter that challenge, and in a way also a bias as a woman. But then I started to think, like, what is my competitive advantage? And I started being smart about it. It's the first thing that you need to do. You need to start talking. So you need to know your win points, your lose points, and you need to know why is your profession important. You need to do a bit of a research and understand the other side of the coin as well. So I started thinking intensively about IT and about tech as such. And what is that all about? It's about innovation. It's about, creating something new. It's about, shaping the society and business world into something that we, years ago, we've been just dreaming about it. And then, people would say, yeah, but as a lawyer, you just know how to read laws or I don't know, something like that. But then I said, yeah, but law helps you to shape that society, because law can, from a business perspective, if you want to drive a digital transformation, you need to know the law to ensure, first of all, compliance, to help assess risks, for data subjects as well. You need to know what kind of limitations or possibilities law can impose to you. And, me being a legal professional, I do have that mindset as a legal professional that I can point you in the right direction and ensure that whatever that you're creating in a digital world, that you ensure that you're compliant with the law on the EU level. But I didn't have the skill set. So then I started being smart. I started talking about it. I started talking what I'm studying. I started talking about my aspirations, about job that I would like to have, and that is cybersecurity. And then people come to you. They recommend you courses. They introduce you to someone. Then you find a mentor or people who are happy to guide you or to direct you in a good direction. But you need to be patient, and you shouldn't lose the faith in yourself. And you need to be aware that, not everyone will be very accepting about you until you get where you are. And for me, it was, I think, 3 years journey. But yeah, some months ago, I landed my dream job, like literally as an information security consultant in cybersecurity. And, with my previous employer, I tried to get projects where I could bring the added value. And I think that this is important when you work in IT, that you can help them shape something new and help your clients as well.
What is the day-to-day of your role then? What does that entail?
So now as an information security consultant, I'm still a consultant. So I do take different projects on. Currently, the project I'm working on, I'm working as a data protection impact implementer, which means that I'm performing the impact assessment of different systems on the EU level. And I'm trying to assess the risks that are there in the system. I'm exploring what is happening with the personal data that is collected by the client, and through which processes the data goes, what is the impact for data subjects. So you don't perform a data protection impact assessment in every case. There are specific legal cases when you, as a client, as a data controller, you should do. And this is happening when there is a collection of data on a massive scale, and there is a high risk for data subjects. So this is, for example, what I'm doing. I'm having my client. We have this big IT system that is about to be redesigned. So I need to explore in every life cycle of that system. So let's say from the design phase, implementation phase, and then later on, what's going to happen with personal data there. What are the purposes for collecting personal data or further processing? What are the security measures there? And also to give a recommendation that they're more compliant with the GDPR responsibilities and requirements as well. So day to day, it's pretty diverse. I cannot really tell you that there is like one line how it goes, but my general goal is to perform now data protection impact assessment. For example, when I was doing a security audit, it was completely different, but more or less it comes to that I do a lot of interviews. I talk with a lot of people from the stakeholders, so the business owners, then with the developers as well, then with the security experts as well. And I'm trying to collect as much information as I can to do the analysis of a system as such. And then eventually we are coming to the phase where there are also some recommendations that are coming from my end. I mean, my end as the team, not only as an individual, of course, towards the client, because the end goal is to have a redesigned IT system that it's GDPR compliant and there is no big risk for data subjects, for example.
Do you think it's important for all companies, say, to have someone like yourself come in and focus solely on GDPR from a law background specifically and not just a tech background?
Yeah, I do. I think it's very important, but I think that every legal professional should not just stay on the legal level. What I really like about my role is that I believe that I do have that advantage of understanding legal part, but I cannot be successful in my work if I don't understand the tech part of my role or of my project. So you need to handle both stuff. Of course, if you're more technical, then you understand the technical language, the code better, you understand the system better. It's maybe easier for you to communicate. But then, of course, there is always that barrier that, law is maybe too much restrictive. I don't know. So you have two sides of the coin. But if you're a legal professional, I think that is pretty much important, because we tend to stay up to date with all the legal developments in the tech world. And the thing is that technology changes, evolves so quickly. Every day, there are new things coming up. It's growing instantly. I mean, we have so many new apps, things coming up, and law is very slow. So this is the problem from the legal side, that law is not evolving as fast as technology. So as a legal professional working in a tech world, we constantly need to be up to date with the new technologies and what's happening with them and what they are bringing to us, but also with the legal developments or contributing to shaping that legal developments, that they can follow, the impact of, tools as such. So I would always recommend to have a legal professional, because it's a different mindset, it's a different approach to technology, but a legal professional needs to train and learn about, technical skills, understanding security language, understanding all the requirements that are there. So it's definitely a combination. And I think it's a fun, dynamic combination. If you love it, you really need to love it.
Great. You run a podcast as well. So what's that about?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So, well, I really like people. I like meeting new people. I really like to learn. And I think that creating your own networking bubble is very important because we can really learn from each other. So during this pandemic, of course, I missed networking, and I missed, all the activities that I used to have. And I'm really into do-it-yourself projects. So this is one of my passions. But then, I didn't have much time for it. And then I realized, you know what? I'm going to start podcasting, because it's a fun way to learn new stuff. It's a fun way to, I tend to believe, to break barriers between people and to deliver good stories everywhere. And it's kind of my creative way, of exploring myself as well, because I think that if we need to grow, we need to do stuff that sometimes we're afraid of. And I decided to take up this challenge because I'm learning a lot about myself, but I'm still, meeting other people, and I'm helping other people grow. So Business O'Clock is a podcast for people who are passionate about career, leadership, and business growth. And it's oriented, towards young professionals, entrepreneurs, self-employed people, or business owners. And I aim to explore diverse business topics, from personal development ones, because I think it's important to share experience, towards more narrow business topics, such as, for example, I just got an interview about artificial intelligence and plastic surgery, because I think it's a nice way to share that kind of expertise as well. So it's really business oriented, but it needs to be in a way that gives tips and tricks also to young people, young professionals, so we can also grow.
Where can we find your podcast?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, so you can find my podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts. Then you can, of course, find me on Spotify, on Anchor. And if you visit my my Instagram account, Business Bridgers, I also have the link for it. So I share it every time when I release the episode. People can just click and connect. And that's it. Or if you visit my website, www.businessbridgers.com, every time I release episodes there as well. So it's on many platforms.
Brilliant. Okay, so one last question before we go. What is the biggest piece of advice you would give someone who is looking towards getting into a role like yours?
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. So what I would highlight, if there are legal professionals who would like to change their careers and lean more towards digital world, I would definitely advise them to start being vocal about their wishes and desires, because it's not easy to shift like that. But as soon as you start talking and showing a curiosity and read and ask people, then people will start perceiving you as someone who wants to take that path, and they will start come to you and recommend you courses or people or interesting events. So definitely talking about it is the first step. Second thing that I think it's extremely important, and people don't do that because they're afraid of new things, they're afraid of rejection. I always say, ask. I mean, there is nothing bad that can happen to you if you just ask a question, either for a new job or a new role, or maybe for a new direction that you want to talk. Because if you get the answer no, the good thing is that you can always ask that person what is there that you can improve, and you will get concrete example what you can improve, where to start, and what is there that you are missing to enter the game. So always ask a question, because if you ask, you can also get a yes, and you need that welcome to this world. You need that answer. But if it is a no, it's a great thing. You're gonna get your guidance, and getting a no doesn't mean that you cannot ask that question again when the time is better, right? So that would be definitely the second thing. And the third thing, what I always say, sometimes you need to do what scares you. I mean, yeah, being a traditional lawyer is a lot of fun and it's good. And, a lot of friends of mine are doing that. But if you want to go into tech, don't be afraid of it. People in tech, they're learning constantly themselves. There are, new technologies coming up, and they will have patience to answer all your questions. So just go for it. Start learning. Don't be afraid of, weird tech phrases that you sometimes don't understand, because, with practice, you're going to master it and it's going to be okay. But yeah, just do it, So if you manage to balance those three things, start being vocal about your desires and wishes and career goals, that will open you doors that you were not aware of, and opportunities, because it will show you where to look at. Then you should ask a question, and if the answer is no, you will get a guidance what to improve and how to improve it. And the third thing is exactly that. Do what scares you. If it is tech, that's awesome, because you're going to be challenge driven and you will constantly learn. So those three things helped me, and I hope that it's going to help someone else.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. So quickly before we go, where can we find you online to follow you and to keep up with what you're doing?
Perfect. Thank you very much for your question. So as I said, you can always follow my blog at www.businessbridgers.com. I'm sharing there all my podcasts, as well as articles about career advancement, personal development, or any other business related interesting topic. You can also follow me on my Instagram, Business Bridgers. For law and tech enthusiasts, they can follow me on my personal profile, Ivana Butorac, on Instagram, because recently I started doing fun law and tech reels to raise awareness about data protection and privacy matters, about social media apps. So I'm more than happy to connect with other like-minded people there. And I'm very active on my LinkedIn, so people can connect there as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. It's been a brilliant vlog today. I've really enjoyed listening to what you do and how you got there and your tips. It's been really helpful. So thank you.
Thank you, Rachel, very much. It was great.